MacGyver moment? It happened during World War II. German Nobel laureates Max von Laue and James Franck sent their medals to fellow physicist Niels Bohr in Denmark for safekeeping. You may remember Bohr from his model of an atom, conveniently named the Bohr model of an atom, and you may recall the Nazis from all kinds of terrible things, including raids, looting, and imprisoning or killing innocent people based on trumped-up charges. The Nazis invaded Denmark in 1940, and knowing that Bohr was aiding German refugees, they targeted his lab. Not only would they want to get their hands on those gold medals, once they did, they'd see von Laue and Franck's names on them, and probably sentence them to death for taking gold out of Germany. Bohr and his colleague, George de Hevesy, came up with a plan to hide them in plain sight, as one of their lab chemicals. Precious metals like gold and platinum can be dissolved in a chemical solution called aqua regia. While it sounds like something you'd find next to the Dasani at the grocery store, or maybe something you'd cook up at Hogwarts, aqua regia is a mixture of nitric acid and hydrochloric acid. Neither alone will dissolve the metal. Without the hydrochloric acid around, only a small amount of gold will ultimately react with the nitric acid and become positively charged. But add in hydrochloric acid, and that's where the magic, science, happens. While gold is sharing electrons with the nitric acid solution, it sees hydrochloric acid and decides it likes it just a little bit better than nitric. It has a higher affinity for it. And it says, "Thanks for all you've done for me, No3, but I'm hooking up with hydrochloric acid now." It's kinda like if you were to invite me over to your house for pizza, and then when I get there all ready to eat, you ask if I want to stick with the pizza, or give me the option to change to tacos. And if you think I'm sticking with pizza when there's tacos on the table, well, maybe food analogies just aren't your thing. And the really cool thing is, because of chemical equilibrium, which is like balancing the scales of reactants and products, now that there's less of that positively charged gold around, nitric acid wants to grab more of the gold molecules to rebalance the scales. Then that gold ion's wandering eye sees hydrochloric acid looking like a tasty taco and moves over to it. And the reaction just keeps perpetuating itself until you've got a container of innocent-looking amber-colored solution. By the way, while I know I mention a lot of food in there, so it seems very user-friendly, seriously, don't try this at home. With all the solid gold you have laying around or whatever. This solution is very reactive and creates noxious fumes which could result in, well, let's just say it's on the spectrum of mixing bathroom cleaning products together and whatever it is that's always happening to Beaker on The Muppet Show. In the movies, de Hevesy would hear the Nazis arrive at his door, he'd drop the metals into the solution at the last minute, and just as the music crescendos, the bad guys bust through the door and find an innocent, worthless flask of some science nonsense. In reality, this reaction is a slow one, so while it might not have looked like a Steven Seagal action sequence, when the Nazis did arrive and search Bohr's place, all they saw was a bunch of chemicals on a shelf. After the war, the gold was chemically pulled back out of the solution, sent to Sweden to be recast into metals, and finally, returned to von Laue and Franck. And that's worthy of a Hollywood script.